Hey, welcome to a real JourneyNOW podcast.
Hey, Kevin, you can't talk because I'm Mike and I'm going to stop it right now. I'm not going to do that to you, Kevin.
Yeah, the dome of protection.
Yeah. Mike's not here.
He's not.
So why would I be so dumb to do a Mike-ism?
Yeah.
Kevin, would you start this again? Start again. I want to hear a whole Kevin start.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I forget how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do it anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I usually just get one word out.
No. So that's my bad.
No,
like
that's okay.
I think spend so much time with Mike that I feel like I'm becoming, and I don't want to become him.
No, because you don't want to. No, nobody wants that. But
hey, and welcome
to another JourneyNOW podcast. This is Kevin with Tim.
Wow.
And Susie is off somewhere.
Probably sick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The dome of protection failed both of them.
Yes.
And Mike is sick.
Yeah.
So you get the two best looking guys. Obviously. And so we're going to banter a little bit about life, death, and the American way.
Wow.
Yes. Actually, we are.
Yeah.
We're in this middle of this series on Genesis, and Mike has done all of the research, and we usually just ask him questions. But today we get to make fun of, like, can you read Mike's mind? Can you channel that big brain in some way?
That was so good. Well done. Everybody, just before that, have you guys talked about how we taught people pickleball and you're a pickleballer now?
No. We should talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, Mike and I, everybody knows, we've begun the process of becoming professional pickleball players.
Fallback position for income in the future.
Yeah, it's been really beautiful, and the affirmations and even some of the D1 letters we've been getting, but it's like we're actually not college age. Like people think we're college.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Recruits.
Yeah.
But we're not.
No. Yeah.
But we taught our staff how to play the pickleball.
It was fun. Yeah. Edwin was with us.
Yeah.
Edwin and I were a team. Great editing, the great editor of the podcast.
Yeah. Yes. It was so much fun, you guys. I mean, we had Susie out there. We had the whole crew learning how to play pickleball.
Yeah. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And everybody was a little bit sore the next day. Except for Mike and Tim, because they're already in amazing shape.
D1.
Yes.
People, I'm just putting this out there. If you have millions, maybe billions of dollars, here's what I think needs to happen. And I'm looking straight into the camera right now.
Right,
I'm looking right at you.
Right at you.
Here's the thought. At the south end of our campus, I'm not kidding right now. You guys, everybody thinks I'm kidding with this.
Oh,
I'm
no.
totally serious.
I know you are.
You know what?
I know you are, because you don't want to drive any further than you have to.
No, I'm just saying this could be, talk about a ministry opportunity.
Yes. Indoor
pickleball
court.
facility at the south end of our campus.
Yeah.
Indoor. I mean, it could have a bar. It could have a coffee shop. I mean,
start with bar.
Yeah, duh. Mike and I have a Bloody Mary every morning before we start
Get out
playing.
there.
Yeah. Anywho, you guys, I'm serious. If you're like, gosh, what do I do with my
extra millions,
$20 million?
Yeah,
Tim had a really good idea.
Yeah, Tim,
because the ministry capability
is off the
capacity.
Charts. Everybody in Brentwood would be here because I think everybody in Brentwood plays that game.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's becoming a thing. And again, I'm not being just silly about this, and it could be a real moneymaker. Kevin, I don't appreciate your laughter.
I know you don't.
I'm dead apple serious.
Yes. Oof.
Okay. Anywho, back to pickleball.
Actually, Mike gave me a tutorial on it a couple weeks ago, which was really fun. Went over to the Brentwood indoors and played for the first time. It was exhausting.
Yeah, you did great.
It was exhausting.
Kevin pulled a hammy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it a hammy?
Well, I was
gastrocnemius.
Yeah, kind of in that general area. It hurt though. Yeah, I couldn't quite shake it until the next day, but it's all good. It was fun though. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So people, if you want to come play, once again, put in the petition.
Yes, write it down.
For Kevin to say yes. We're going to raise money for a facility.
Facility.
Gosh, it's going to be great.
A pickleball facility.
It's going to be so right.
What would we call it? Journey Pickle?
I don't want to go there because I feel like it's going to get inappropriate real quick.
Oh,
and I don't feel like I have the restraint.
Oh, okay. I don't have that gear today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of restraint.
Yes. How have you been, Tim? Like, You've been a little under the weather for a couple,
Yeah,
for a day
I
or
was
two.
I was on a cruise,
Oh, suffering
on a cruise with my
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
I got to play the musics on the cruise,
Nice.
which was so fun.
Yeah, I bet.
And then got the Ronas, got the COVIDs.
The COVIDs.
But it was totally worth it.
Yeah, you'd do it again.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
Ronas, I'd get it. I'd do it. Got home.
Do you think everybody on the boat got it?
No, there are a few of us that got it.
Not everybody
Not
did.
everybody.
How is that possible? They say it is one of the most contagious things ever. If you put like 3,000 people on a boat.
Well, I haven't done a whole poll of the vote.
Oh, you didn't talk to the whole boat?
No, I didn't. We're not on a big email chain. Or
Oh,
anything like that.
okay.
Yeah.
I just assumed.
Just the pickleball crew.
Okay.
It's trying to get a facility at the south
Could
end
you
of our
play
campus.
pickleball on the
You could play
on the
pickleball
cruise?
on the cruise. And let me just say, they were all 90 years old and above.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody was playing. Yeah, I couldn't even get in.
Wow.
Because they had tournaments and these people were on it. It was like they went on the cruise just to play pickleball. Yeah, wouldn't get off on stops. They just played pickleball.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I get it. Once again,
Was it
south end of
outside
our
or
campus.
inside? The pickleball court.
Outside
Nice.
on the top deck.
Oh. What if you hit the ball over the edge?
I don't think anybody's going to go get it.
No?
No, yeah. I mean, there was
so
a dog on each side, and it's like, go fetch. And that's why I tried to bring Lucy, my dog. I was like, Lucy, do you want to play catch? Do you want to play catch? It was either that or eat chocolate. So I was like, I kept giving her Hershey bar. She wouldn't take it.
No.
Cruise,
keep
got
trying.
sick, then went to, where did I go? San Quentin.
Oh, not everybody can say that.
Not
Went on a
everybody can
cruise,
say-
got sick, and went to San Quentin. Is
Yeah.
that all connected somehow?
No.
Oh, that's
No,
too
this is
bad.
my second
'Cause it
time at
seems
San
like-
Quentin.
Seems like it should be.
And it was incredible. It's like, it's one of the most,
It's a
Bizarre
is it a
experiences.
federal or state?
prison. State?
Is it
I think it's
state?
state.
Okay. I've been to one of Pennsylvania's, Frackville State Prison, but I've
Watch your mouth.
I know Frackville. Well, if you're
Yeah, it was my second time at San Quentin, and I got to play the musics at the San Quentin. But I go with a guy named Bob Goff. If you know Bob Goff, if you've ever heard of him.
So
if you
you
haven't, he's just one of my great heroes and
did
friends.
you do some Johnny Cash music
I
while you
have
were
not
there?
done any Johnny Cash. I should have.
You should have.
Yeah, Johnny Cash,
I mean,
and Metallica,
yeah.
and Tim Timmons apparently. have
Yeah,
really
how many
done some
times?
Amazing.
How many times
sets.
can you go to a prison and do the musics?
Yeah,
and not do a Johnny Cash bit?
I know. Well, with Bob, so there's this guy named Bob Goff. Everybody, he's wild. And so the first time I went,
Yeah,
I'm like prepared for like 2 songs. I don't know who knows what I'm getting into.
yeah,
And there are no lyrics anywhere. It's just like, hey,
Hey.
go. And these people don't know you. And
right.
so the first time I'm ready, and Bob's like, Tim, why don't you come on up? And I don't know, just do 45 minutes or an hour. I'm like, yes, I will. Okay. So this time I prepared a full hour. I was like, this is going to be
come
awesome.
up and get 5 minutes.
And he came, he's in the beginning, I hadn't even plugged in or anything like that or done a sound check. He said,
Yeah.
Tim, why don't you come on up? And he's like, just play a few songs. So I'm like, few? What does that mean? So I played like 2.5 songs and just trying to like,
Yeah,
not just play music, but how do we have, ask these guys great questions that are getting them to think and all of us in the room to think about
Yeah.
Jesus in a bigger way. And
yeah.
it was the first class. So he teaches this class called Dream Big.
Oh,
It's one of his books. It's just crazy to go into a prison where these guys have raped everybody and killed everybody and
Yeah.
all the things.
all the things.
And you teach a class on dreaming big when
Wow.
it's like, yeah, I've got 25 more years in here.
Right.
Or I'm getting out this year. Or
So I'm gonna dream slow.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but I know, and it just sounds so
Yeah.
ironic and
Yeah.
like a waste of time, but it is beautiful. One of the guys, Jimmy in there, he has 20 some years to go, and Bob started teaching one of the classes 5 years ago.
Right.
And this guy has quite a story, obvious.
Yeah.
And he really was like, I love ASL. I've always been curious about ASL. And so he, in this whole Dream Big thing,
Yeah.
it's a year-long course, he decided that's what I will do. I will learn ASL. So now he's like the teacher of ASL in the whole prison.
Oh, wow.
And he's teaching it to everybody. There are ASL inmates that,
For those of our dear listener who doesn't know what ASL is.
yes, sorry. I have a lot of acronyms for that as well. but that are inappropriate.
That's why I'm
The
just,
3-letter game.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my favorite game ever. TPR. Go. First words. Okay. No, ASL is when you sign. It's like signing with your hands and talking.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that.
Yeah, so sorry.
Yeah.
I know so much.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's hard.
And
I
it's
feel
just
like,
overwhelming.
yeah.
You can't say the words. You got to abbreviate them in order to get everything in.
So ASL is kind of the TPL of the poop side of things. The perpetuating side of things.
Yeah, perpetuating.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'll try to bring it back down to your level. Anyways, he is the teacher of ASL, sign
At
language.
the LA.
At the San Quentin.
SQ. Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
But he's the VP, right? I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Kevin, inappropriate. And it's just those stories all over the place of these beautiful men that Jesus has really transformed a lot of these guys. That's crazy.
Cool. That's really cool.
Anyway, so I got to spend some time there. It was my birthday. Then Hillary took me out. I got to go on a makeout night with her at an Airbnb. And
does your wife know?
She does know.
Okay.
She knew about it.
She knew about it. She was there?
Yeah. And then where did we go? I went somewhere else. Who knows?
San Quentin. Not everybody can say that.
No.
And say it was a good experience.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. At this time, there's a guy named Bob that doesn't get anything out of this. Like, I can't figure out an angle that Bob's getting out of
going there and doing it.
Going there or going the 13 other countries that he has started these schools or.
Yeah.
He's just the guy that it's like, okay, whatever on all the theology. Let's just love people really well.
Right.
And he just does it.
Yeah.
And I've spent so much time with him in Israel and all these, in London, all these different places.
Right.
And he's just the real deal all the way through.
Yeah, he seems to be. Yeah. How'd you meet him?
I don't remember that. I think it was through a conference called the Catalyst Conference years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I went to that.
Church that I was working at.
Yeah, that's the one with the cats, like Garfield.
Yes. I hate that conference.
The CATs.
Yeah, CATs.
Yeah, I remember that.
But he's one of those guys that all of a sudden then calls you and you're like, who are you? Did you miss call? Did you find another?
Did you butt dial me? Right.
But it's also the reminder for everybody to just, I don't know. There's something about somebody who would call a dork like me and just be curious about me. Like there's no reason why he should call me through the years.
Yes.
And want to be friends with me.
But he's stayed in touch with you.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's just, just cool. Just inspiring.
Yeah. I find you very interesting.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, I don't know. There's a whole lot of people in this world. You're one of my favorites. So
thank you. You're one of them. There are a whole bunch of people in the world, Tim, and you are one of them. You've had quite a little season.
Oh yeah, nothing like yours. I'll take your season. I would even take the COVIDs over my season.
Yes, I bet.
Yeah, it's been a challenge.
Yeah, have you shared it all?
I don't know. I don't remember if we shared it or not, but the last month of January, my mom came to visit. She stays normally with my sister in West Virginia, and she got sick while she was here. So we took her to the hospital, and they kept her for a couple of days, sent her back to my house, and she got sick the next day, and I brought her back to the hospital, and she ended up staying in a rehab center until the end of the month of January, and then I was able to get her back to West Virginia, which ended in a homegoing. She passed away on February 2nd. So Groundhog's Day. So it was a long month of go visit my mom, try to figure out what's going on. It was a sad but also very informative season. I mean, I found out how screwed up our medical system is here in the States. I met a bunch of angels that work in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think they might be. Yeah. Like, hey, bright. You knew bright lights. Like, you could see, like, wow, whoa. It was like somebody turned on something. It was weird. And then there were moments when I went, oh yeah, you don't want to be here. You don't want to be. I get it. I don't want to be here. Right. And then the next person would walk in, you go, okay, you actually care about it. It was a practice for me of watching people who bring heaven with them when they show up in a room, even in a place where people are dying.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a good.
Yeah, you're saying that one of the nurses had just met your mom for like one day.
Yes, and
she was crying.
She was weeping when she passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, oh, how do you do this?
Yeah.
How in the world?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it was. I was able to be with my mom in the last hour of her life and be with her when she died. And I've been with a lot of people when they've died over the years, just because of my job and
also your life, like a lot of your life circumstances.
Yes.
That has been a huge theme.
It is. It's my life has been riddled with death, and with that comes this appreciation of life, but also comes an appreciation of death. There is I've seen people die really hard, and I've seen people die real peacefully. My mom died really peacefully, which I'm very thankful for. She was very afraid of death. A couple of years ago, we would have conversations around death, but she really moved to a place of great comfort with the idea that she'd get to go and be with Jesus. So I think there were some doubts that she had to wrestle with, and all of them real and all of them very, very vivid for her. But
did she feel the freedom, do you think?
She did. I was driving to West Virginia hoping I'd get to see her one more time before she passed. And so on the second, my sister was texting me as I was driving. She was with her at the hospice house. And it was getting late. And she was like, I think you better hurry. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I got there. She wasn't lucid or anything, but was able to whisper in her ear that I had made it and it was always okay. And she perked up. She knew I was there. Mm. And so it was sweet. It was a sweet moment of saying goodbye. Yep. So, and she lived a long life, 86 years old.
Yeah.
86 and a half, she told me. 86 and a half.
Yeah. FYI.
Yeah. If you're like 2, it's 2.5, right?
Yeah.
When you're a toddler, you're like, it is, you know.
That's funny. And then, beginning and the end of life, you're counting the halves.
Yeah, now we're counting halves. Yeah. I made it to 86 and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody calm down.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny. Because when I was with her here, she actually hit that half point mark in January. She's a June kid. And she said, yep, made to 86 and a half. I don't think I'm making 87. She literally said that to me. And I went, okay. And she was right. I think people know when they're dying sometimes. They just know. And she knew. And it was, we had some great, part of what she was struggling with, and we can move off of this topic in a second, but was she couldn't see, she couldn't hear, she couldn't move. She was 86 and all the things were failing and a half. Yeah. And her kidneys were going and her heart was at 15% and all the things, like she was dying.
Yeah.
And she would say, hey, Kev, come over. I want to whisper something in your ear. So I would come over and she would tell me she loved me. And then she would say, growing old is really hard, but being with Jesus is worth it. And she would always have some statement like that when she would say, come over, I want to whisper in your ear. And so it was.
Was that normal for her?
No.
It doesn't sound like that's a normal thing.
It wasn't normal. It wasn't. She would tell me she loved me, but there was this. We would have conversations in the car, like driving between here and West Virginia. I'd always have meaningful conversations with her. Time alone, 5.5 hours in a car. And you'd be like, okay, what are we going to talk about? But we would have great conversations. Yeah. These were probably the more intimate conversations I've ever had with my mom, which was a treasure. I think.
Sorry, and that's beautiful. Gosh, what are the lessons to learn even with that? Like her ability to just settle in and find wisdom in the midst of those places.
Yeah. Crazy.
Is there like I don't know, something to be learned?
I think so. I think dying well is difficult. I think coming to the place of resign because over the years I've watched people, wither away from cancer, like pancreatic cancer, 2 people, and one guy scared and really difficult. One guy was like, yeah, I'm done now. And came to conclusion of I'm ready to go and be with Jesus and with my, and he was young, he was in his 40s and bless him. But he struggled with, his struggle was and this was the conversation as his pastor I'd have with him all the time, is God not healing me because I don't have enough faith? Am I facing death now because I am a person who doesn't have faith? And I had never met anybody quite like him who had a deep faith, like a rich faith. Only somebody with deep faith would ask that question.
Yeah.
Like, did I miss something along the way that I was supposed to learn? And I think that was my mom's struggle a couple of years ago. It wasn't about faith, it was about doubt. And she couldn't reconcile those two things. And so
meaning what?
Doubt and faith.
Okay, right.
Faith would have to somehow supplant doubt all the time.
Yeah.
And so in our conversations, I think doubt is a part of faith. And we would have conversations around what she was doubting or her regrets. And oftentimes it was her regrets. I regret I did this, or I regret I didn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, all of us do that. That's part of being human. We make choices and we do things. And but do you think he can forgive that? Oh, yeah. Oh, I most definitely do. Because if he can't forgive that, I am screwed.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have those conversations, and she was able to settle into her own faith in such a way, into her faith in Jesus in such a way, that she came to a place of, oh, this is humanity. This is being human. And she was able to come to peace with her doubts and her faith being in tension. It was good.
It's just so sober.
It is.
I mean, I've said it a million times. Like, the most sobering time is around death.
Yeah.
Around the potential of death.
Yep.
The anticipation.
Yep.
So, I mean.
Yeah.
I forget, what's that country song? Live Like You're Dying, or what? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Live Like You're Dying. Yeah,
it's
ride a bull, Fu Manchu.
It's so profound.
Yeah, it is. But we don't live that way. You, of all people, probably embody that more than anybody I know. Yeah, and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah,
I don't embody that as well. I'm starting to feel the urgency of living life a little more as though it's a gift.
Yeah,
but that's been a struggle.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it is a practice. I mean, I write this X on my wrist every morning, partly for that. Like, that's one of the, you've got another day, so just join Jesus today in this day. But in that day, I forget 40,000 times.
Yeah.
And kids do something stupid, and it's like, whatever. I go off the handle of something, and it's like, what? If I look back, if I was sober in that moment, like your mom in that moment, it'd be like, okay, so the dog peed on the ground. We're just fine.
Yes, and I'm going to stomp on that dog.
But I lose my ever-loving mind over, the dumbest little things.
Yeah.
And sobriety, I want to be more and more sober.
Yes.
In the ways of life. And
in Jesus. And we talk about this, is that I want to bring Jesus, I want to bring heaven with me wherever I go. I don't want to bring hell with me. And there's
meaning in what, like, give examples of hell.
Example of hell would be, I got a phone call last night after we get off an airplane ride that was like stupid. We were landing in Nashville last night, and I call to get the shuttle to come pick us up. Our shuttle shut down an hour ago. How am I going to get my car?
Yeah.
And my mind is racing, and I've got 100 things on my mind that I got to get done because I'm driving to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, Kev. My initial response was hell.
Yeah.
It was like, I paid for this.
Right.
Well, and then the woman on the other end of the line brought a little heaven, said, we'll Uber you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I wanted to bring nothing but the wrath of Kevin Dixon.
Revenge, wrath, justice.
That's what I mean by that. Yeah.
Got it.
As opposed to saying, how will we fix this? Even just in the tone of my voice, I can bring hell.
Yeah.
Or I can bring heaven. Yeah. It depends. And sometimes I'm good at it, and sometimes I'm really bad at it.
Totally.
And a lot of those moments are when I feel like somebody has disrespected me, or I feel like I'm being overlooked, or how in the world, who doesn't do their job? You got one thing to do.
Right.
Just come pick me up from the airport. How hard is that?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know. And so you kind of lose your ever-loving mind. Yeah. I try not to. And
of course.
But then there are moments, and then I look back on that moment and I go, see, that's what I got to stop doing.
Okay, so is it a stop doing? Where does how does that play out? Because then there's like just behavior modification. Don't be an ass. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk.
Right.
Which probably has some merit to it. But that also doesn't really work because I'm still mad or I'm still frustrated.
Right.
So what does sobriety look like?
Yeah, right. But there's a conscious understanding, I think. I think there's a consciousness or a soberness or an understanding of the invitation by Jesus to say, hey, when you come follow me, this is what it looks like. And I think the natural response to our life going awry, away from our plans, not as we would like, whatever, our team loses, our natural response to that is to be hellish.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that the better response to that is heaven, kindness and forthrightness and forgiveness and grace and all the things that come along with being a Jesus follower. I don't always bring it. So I think the difference between behavior modification and that is the recognition of why and where it comes from. And I think also there's a little bit of supernatural transformation that takes place in us.
Yeah.
I think it's an inner work of God in us, and we got to surrender to that.
Yeah.
I think we suck at surrendering to that because we want to keep our own will. We want to keep our own justice.
Totally.
We want to make our own choices.
Yeah, that was Dallas Willard's one of his main gifts to humanity and Jesus people everywhere is saying, whose kingdom or queendom are you propping up?
Yes.
And when he asked the question, when was the last time your kingdom was threatened? I was like, shoot.
15 minutes ago.
Yep. And that person, my kingdom was totally threatened. And he's like, awesome. But the mission is actually seek first the kingdom of God and the ways of the kingdom of God.
Right.
Because who cares if yours is threatened?
Right.
And sobriety is going, okay, I'm going to die. Okay. That's fine. I mean, it's sad and I'll be sad about it. And also, all right.
Yeah.
Like there's such an acquiescing or a contentment as you've
wanting what I have.
Yeah.
With all my heart. The funny thing, my mom doesn't have a big estate. She just doesn't. And I'm the executor of her will, and I'm going through all her stuff, and I'm trying to, and I'm lessons learned, right?
Yeah.
I got to get all this straight for my kids because I was thinking this on the airplane ride when I was coming back from New York because it was constant turbulence. You're like, brr, brr, brr.
Yeah.
I'm
going down.
I wasn't worried about dying as much as I was like, I don't really, if I die right now, my wife's right next, Lori's right next to me. Oh, it just would be a mess for my kids. I got to get this straight. It wasn't that I would die.
Yeah.
It was that I would leave it to somebody else to have to clean up, which is in me, like, that's like the worst thing. So anyway, that was another lesson learned in this whole thing when I was flying back. I was like, if I died today, I think my kids would just curse me.
Yeah. Right.
Because of the mess that I left them. Anyway, all that to say,
that was free.
That was free advice right there.
Yeah.
Sober. So I have a will, but but for them to find everything and to have it be organized and just like, I sit down in this because I'm trying to sort through all my mom's stuff.
Right.
I've been doing my mom's finances for 12 years, and I still don't know where certain things are.
Yeah.
Anyway, that I want to bring a little hell to.
Right.
Right. So, yeah. But death has a way of sobering up a lot of things.
Yeah.
It really does.
And I don't know if even we have time to go into Genesis 2 at all, but
death was part of that.
Part of that.
That's where we get our introduction to death.
Right.
And yes, we could discuss that for about 2 minutes.
Let's do 2 minutes.
Let's do 2 minutes on Genesis chapter 2.
Yeah.
I think it's...
so what were all the questions that came in?
Yeah.
That, again, were answered and are being answered. But,
right. Yeah. And I think one of the things that we all have to kind of wrestle with is when we get introduced to these different things in Genesis chapter 2. This is just my whole precursor.
Yeah.
Because I think we've all been taught certain things about Genesis. We've been told this is how you interpret it. These were these real events, real things really happened, and we're not telling you not to believe all that. We're not telling you not to believe what you've always believed.
Yeah.
We just want you to be curious about how the original people heard it when they heard it, and I think it was news to people that Genesis probably wasn't the first book that was written.
Yeah, that was a big aha.
Yeah,
this weekend.
Like everybody just assumed that Moses penned that first.
Yeah, that was the first thing written.
All right, Moses, have a seat here on the rock. We're going to write Genesis now.
Yep.
And it probably didn't go that way. It was more about how to govern the mass of people that he was trying to govern down. For those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, this was on Mount Sinai when Moses talked to God for a while and got the law and got anyway. So yeah, Genesis came a little later. Genesis was to explain not the origins of man, but the relationship between God and man. And we just so many times
just that statement alone. But just that statement alone is
right.
You almost need to rewind that sucker. That was me rewinding. I went to school for that.
Yeah.
But
amazing.
Can you say that again?
Yeah.
It was not for.
It wasn't for the people that originally heard it.
We'll say this.
Okay.
As far as we know, and as far as we can tell by looking at the original context of this.
Yeah.
What if it's true that.
Okay. Thank you for putting all those qualifiers on it. The Israeli people were more interested in their relationship with God than they were the origins of men.
Right.
And so they were more interested in Abraham than they were in Adam and Eve. But there's this understanding, I think, among most people that do the deep dive into the beginnings of the book, is that the original hearers were being taught, this is how God relates to you. This is where God is bigger than all the other gods. This is where our understanding of his relationship with us. He walked with Adam and Eve in the creation. He created them to be image bearers. So we start taking away these big chunks, and we begin then to see the value of humans. We then begin to see the value of the relationship between God and men. And then we begin to understand, in the bigger story is the understanding of why Jesus needed to die to reconcile the relationship between God and men.
The original intent, God's original intent.
Right.
The hope.
Yeah. Crazy. But death is introduced in Genesis, not in an immediate sense. It wasn't introduced as the immediate consequence. You eat from that tree, dude.
You die. You fall down.
Die.
Yeah.
You even touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was the banishment from all that was good. It was they chose against God. That was the sin. It wasn't the apple's fault. It wasn't the tree's fault. It wasn't like that was a perverse tree. It was, hey, simple rules. Eat anything you want in the garden. Anything at all. Abundance. And you will live.
Yeah.
Eat from that one tree and you will surely die.
Meaning
you will be banished from the beauty of your relationship with God will change. Your relationship with each other will change. You will become different. And eventually you will die.
Yeah.
Physically. And I think a lot of times we just gloss over the beauty of the garden. We gloss over of the joy of being in the garden.
Yeah.
Just like we gloss over, like what we were talking before, we fail to see the beauty around us.
Yeah.
For we are so focused on the task around us.
Yes.
And
or the little issues.
Yeah. The dog pissing on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really got me this weekend was that we all focus so much on the bad tree, evil tree.
Yeah.
And
miss
the entire rest of the garden.
Yeah.
I was just in, what they say is the garden, in Israel.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they
with Bob Goff.
Who knows what they know about that stuff. But I was thinking about, this whole area, and there's one tree.
Yeah.
Out of this whole place. It's like, oh my gosh, this place is gorgeous and a party.
Yeah.
Yet there's this one thing, and even as a parent, we're like, just don't. This is not going to be the best thing for you, son.
Right.
It's not what's best for you, and it will hurt relationship.
Right.
But you've got the rest, man. You got the rest of the house. You have the rest of whatever.
Nope. All they see is the what I can't. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or it's just all biblically, it's all I've focused on.
Yeah. What we can't do. It's how Christianity has been presented for eons.
Yeah.
And it's not doing justice to the beauty of the relationship. I love the story of God walking with them in the cool of the day, and being present with them. And it's not that he's not present with us, but I think there was a tangibleness to it that we can't imagine yet. And that's what broke. That's what death was. There was a death to that relationship.
Yeah.
There was a death to the beauty of the garden. There was a death because they were then banished, and then they couldn't go back. There's no going back, and that's part of death. When you die, there's no going back. There's only one person that came back. No, well, legitimately back. Lazarus was rose from the dead. A few other people got raised from the dead, but Jesus is the one.
So
okay.
Then he talks
because he's the one that vanquished death.
Right.
Yeah.
We go into the idea of worship then. So there was, what I love. I was talking to some friends last night that
you have friends.
Well,
oh wow,
no, just Bob Goff. And the prison guys.
Yeah. I'm your friend. Will you be my friend?
Okay, I'll be your friend.
Okay, yeah.
But what I was talking about, how when we were going through Revelation, because they were talking about going through Revelation in their community, and I said one of the beautiful things that I didn't really get at the very, very beginning. I remember Mike's like, "We're going to do communion every week." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so bored already."
Yeah.
Like,
not again.
Come on.
Yeah,
that juice is terrible. The bread sucks, and it just feels so whatever.
Yeah.
But it so makes sense.
Now it does.
Everything is going, this is everything we're going to do is going to be pointing to this communal.
Yeah.
We are the body.
Yeah.
And we get to just remember Jesus together and his way and what's it look like. So Mike was talking, as we were moving into communion, he was talking about worship. So just give a little context of Genesis 2 and worship. Why would he bring that up?
Why do we bring it up? It was intended that the garden would be a place where the priest and the priestess, or the priests, would be the people, and they would care for, and in all they did, it was the garden itself that they were to tend and take care of, and in doing so, that was their worship, because that was their obedience.
Right.
That was their and it was to tend to the things that God gave them power over.
Yeah.
In such a way that it enabled them to flourish.
Yeah.
And as the garden flourished, the worship flourished.
Yeah.
We so often, and I think Mike said something like this, is that we've in the American church have taken worship and moved it into this little section in a gathering time that is actually music. And we call that the worship. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves in life. I'm like, that's not worship. That is worship. It's a little bit of worship, but worship is how we follow Jesus and how we carry that out in our volition, in our choices, in our bringing heaven to places rather than hell. And our worship is to be a person who represents Jesus well, I think.
What does it look like to tend? I mean, we know worship is duty, and there's like a liturgy. It's worship is social justice.
Yeah.
But what's that look like then today?
That's
like as you're looking at the garden, as you're looking at the job, their vocation was worship.
Right. I think
and not just singing songs until in heaven. I don't know if I want to go to that place.
I don't.
That we're just going to sing nonstop.
Perpetual. I used to think it was
Lord,
a perpetual.
Don't let that happen.
A perpetual worship service.
Yes, I'm out.
I'm out. Send me to the outer. Send me.
I'll do the sound. I'll do sound, or I'll do lyrics. Yeah, and maybe that's what it is.
I'll run the lights.
Anyways, okay.
Anyway, yes, I think this is where it gets confused. Is that the church, the organized church, co-opted worship into a gathering thing, where it only happens when we're gathered, and it's not that. it is that, but it's not completely that. We can, and sometimes when we're gathered as a group of people and we are singing, it's not worship, it's something else. I don't know what, but it is something else. And so it's hollow, or it's not really heartfelt. I think the greatest form of worship is seeing a homeless person for who they really are as a human. I think an act of worship is to stop and help somebody change their car or a tire on their car. It is to teach somebody how to play pickleball without getting angry. It's bringing our full self into relationships that allows people to see beyond the surface of who we are. It changes the way that I interact with you. And it's not done because I want some transaction from you. I'm not trying to extract anything. I am just merely giving of myself like God gives to us. Yeah. And in that, what we end up with is a flourishing relationship with others and with God in such a way that it shines a light, like when you're a peculiar people. That's what Peter calls us, peculiar people, because even in the moments of great despair, we bring light. Yeah, and that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, Kev. I mean, that is social justice. That we are making the world and everything around us better because we're bringing. I mean, technically, we are. If we are actual representatives of God, the Adams and Eves, then we are these. It's so beautiful. But I love that. It's just a bigger view of worship. Yeah, so helpful.
And the story of the Old Testament, if you read the story of the Old Testament from the beginning to the end, the reason he calls out his people is so that the rest of the world can see what he looks like. This is my people, not so that they can lord over you.
Right, and be the ones that are chosen or to move them away, but it's for them to be
representatives of the true God. Yeah. And we people often go, well, I'm one of the good ones. I'm a chosen one.
Totally.
And we pervert. Yeah. We pervert the story. Yeah. And this is part of the great challenge of reading the Old Testament, is the story gets perverted, I think, the way it's told by humans, because you want to win. But if you read that story, all the failure, all the mistakes, and it's all because they don't represent Yahweh well. Anyway.
That's so good.
That's
Kev.
My rant.
Worship for the flourishing of others.
Yes.
That's because the way, and that's what we all love about Jesus, is his way, whether you think he is who he says he is or not, the way of Jesus is just ultimately for the flourishing of the whole.
It helps me make sense of the statement, love your enemy.
Yeah.
And forgive those who persecute you. Totally. It helps me make sense of that.
Totally.
It moves me into this place where I go, I suck at that, but I want to get to a place where it becomes second nature to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good.
Hard to do. Well, thanks, Tim.
I think we nailed it.
I do too. I think this is the best one ever.
Who?
The best
Who are the other?
I know. You know?
Jerks.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys, Kevin and I have got our. I was going to make a joke, and it was. Nope. I did sweet editing right there.
Nice.
It was something with Bobby Juice, but it didn't. Nope. We're just going to leave it right there. So, guys, have
a great week.
Great day.
Yes.
Oh,
we're out.
Dang it.